What's up, guys? Simone Fan 101 here, and this is my review of Monday Night Raw from last night. I want to get this out of the way because Monday Night Raw last night was shit. It wasn't all shit. It was mostly shit. So let's get this pile of horse dung out of the way. We started off with a 25-minute U.S. title match between Roman Reigns and Rusev. And that was the actual match. They devoted the first 40 minutes to Roman Reigns and Rusev. The entrances, the match itself, of course, the commercial break, and after the match when Reigns and Rusev got counted out, there was like a mini scuffle after the match. The match itself, it was mediocre. That's all I can say about it. The match itself was just mediocre, too mediocre for me to care. Right? These guys don't share good chemistry in straight up singles matches. From what I've seen from these matches, these guys could have a great street fight, but a street fight is not what we're getting. We're getting just straight up matches. They could probably be in the Hell in a Cell match at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view about 5 weeks from now. So that could work in that environment, but in just a straight up singles match, these guys are not that great. Next we had, and that was 40 minutes by the way, so I'm not even gonna bother recapping exactly what happened because honestly I wasn't even paying attention because it was just so boring. Next we had something I actually liked just a little bit better. It was a segment that started out with Mick Foley addressing the issue of Cesaro and Sheamus from Clash of Champions. Cesaro and Sheamus, as you know, fought the best match of the night, and ended up turning 50-50 booking for what was supposed to be a best of 7 series. A 50-50 booking for best of 7 horse shit. With the exception of the Clash of Champions match, the whole best of 7 series was a complete waste of our time. What the fuck? Then both Sheamus, and he was addressing it, both Sheamus and Cesaro came out, claimed that since neither of them actually lost the match, both of them deserved the title shot. And Mick Foley revealed, yeah, both of you are right. You do deserve a title shot. You deserve the same title shot for the tag team titles. And as the show went on, Mick Foley's made to look more and more and more ridiculous, and I'll explain why later. This decision, though, and he said he said Cesaro and Sheamus will team together in a match. Sorry about that, I hit myself on something. At the next pay-per-view with Hell in a Cell, against whoever would win the next match, which ended up being the New Day against Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows. Obviously, they were both not happy about it. It's gonna be that team again. You know, the reluctant partners. I was about to say, didn't we just get this with Slater and Rhino? Except there it worked because they weren't exactly reluctant tag team partners, as Rhino wants the gold, he agreed to work with Slater, and they've pretty much been awesome ever since. So I will say it's been. I know we've had reluctant tag team partners before, but an actual team that I remember, last one we had was Team Hell No, Kane and Daniel Bryan. But Kane and Daniel Bryan, yeah, that was special. Sheamus and Cesaro, I do think Sheamus and Cesaro as a tag team in and of itself can be a very good tag team, much like Cesaro and Tyson Kidd was. Although that was because of their technical wrestling style. Now Cesaro can use the brawling that he does have, as well as Sheamus, and use that. It could be a very good tag team. I just have one major problem with it. It's 50-50 booking almost again. For Sheamus, it does well for Sheamus because Sheamus hasn't done squat since the Rumble match. But for Cesaro, it doesn't do anything for him. I mean, and I said this to Lundrick earlier today on our website. on Ask.fm, and I straight up told him, look, Cesaro with the brand split, Cesaro would not succeed as a top guy on Raw. On SmackDown, that's a different story. Look what they're doing with Dolph Ziggler and The Miz. I actually like that shit more than I like most of the stuff on Monday Night Raw. If they can get me to like Dolph Ziggler and The Miz over many aspects of Monday Night Raw, they're doing something right. The women, despite a completely thin roster on SmackDown, they're actually doing pretty darn well for themselves. So, good for SmackDown. But Cesaro should have been on SmackDown. He really, really should have been on what is essentially the B show, but has become, in terms of quality, the A show. Cesaro is just that good. I mean, he could be on SmackDown tearing it up with guys like Styles, Cena, which he's done before, Ambrose, Ziggler, Miz, Kalisto, Apollo Crews. He could probably be giving Baron Corbin some pretty good matches. And I understand that, tag teams are thin right now, so they gotta make new ones, and Sheamus and Cesaro could be a good one. But I just don't think it's good for Cesaro. Speaking of the New Day match I mentioned earlier, New Day had more time. New Day and Giles and Anderson had more time than they did at Clash of Champions. Funny enough, the more time they had, the shittier of a match it was. It wasn't a bad match. It was a mediocre match. Most of the matches on the card were mediocre tonight. The exception of the Cruiserweight matches. Who'd have thunk it? New Day beat Gallows and Anderson. These guys are dead. I don't want them to be dead, but man, they have royally fucked Gallows and Anderson. And on top of that, maybe it's just me, but New Day shtick is getting old. New Day to me is just getting old as an act. They were great heels, they were great baby faces, and then they just fucking went downhill. Their act maybe it has to do with the booking and how Vince is running the show, but their act is getting worse and worse. Just the other night at Clash of Champions, they fucking cheated to beat Gallows and Anderson when they had New Day on the ropes. That's not what a face stable does. What a heel stable does. Problem is, New Day is not heel. Anyways, so there's that. So I don't know what to do with Carl Anderson, Doc Gallows. You might as well just have Gallows and Anderson say, fuck you, go to SmackDown and tear it up with AJ Styles again, like they did when they were part of the club. And by the way, I stopped calling them the club because everyone else has stopped calling them the club. I might as well. We had a video footage from Clash of Champions, where Triple H said to Stephanie, how'd it go? She says it went fine. And, they went to the limo and then drove off. And later in the night, I might as well just skip to it. Later in the night, Foley brought this up to, not too long later, Foley brought this up to Stephanie. Mick Foley did. And he's like, what? It was so convenient. I was in there checking on Cesaro and Sheamus after the injuries. And, of course, what happened? Stephanie verbally bashed and raped Mick Foley. She emasculated him like she does with every single member of the Raw roster. I don't even want to explain what she said. She was saying, oh, how did the show go? The show went, no. Come on. We aren't stupid. We know that Stephanie, at some point, whether it's a week from now or 5 years from now, we know she's going to be lying about this entire thing and saying, yeah, I knew about it the entire time. Big deal. So what? So stop wasting our time. Because they treat their audiences like they're stupid. And they're not. At least Raw does. I don't know about SmackDown. They probably don't. Apparently, the match that Rollins had with Kevin Owens on Sunday, he ended up getting some hurt ribs. I don't know whether or not they were broken, but he ended up getting his ribs hurt, and he wasn't medically cleared. Whether this is part of the storyline or if it's real, I don't know. Personally, I think it's real because I don't think because if he had broken ribs, he would not have been on Raw. But if it's just hurt ribs or straining, then again, it could be storyline because they sure acted like it was a storyline. So I don't know what to believe, honestly. If I had to guess, probably storyline. So, next match, Bayley beat jobber called Anna Fields, who actually got a good minute of offense in on Bayley before Bayley went back for the next minute and a half and then pinned her. Look, I understand if you got to do jobber matches sometimes. Everyone does. But to have a jobber beat up one of your main females on the roster and for any kind of period of time, really, is just completely stupid. That defeats the purpose of a jobber match. It's not a jobber match, it's just a straight up singles match. That was stupid. And we had the Foley Stephanie segment. I already told you about that. We had Lince Dorado and Drew Gulak against Cedric Alexander and Rich Swann in a tag team match. What I like here is for the cruiserweights that we didn't see yet before, they had video packages before or during their entrances, so at least it gives us some idea at home, but I don't know whether or not the crowd saw it. The match itself, decent match. It was another mediocre match, just slightly more entertaining. My problem with the cruiserweight matches, and it happened in both cruiserweight matches, is the fucking commercial breaks. These matches are only 8, and I even looked it up. These matches were only 8 minutes long. It does not take. You do not need a commercial break to break in 4 minutes because what happens? Because what's gonna happen is cruiserweights are gonna slow down during the commercial break, be in fucking rest holds and choke holds, and chin locks and everything throughout the next 4 minutes, and when they come back to commercial, like, okay, you can actually do your thing now. Putting a commercial, it's good for us TV watchers, but for people who are actually at the crowd, they probably get bored as fuck halfway in because that's how it rolls. It's stupid. WWE has to stop doing that. They did it later on tonight. Alexander and Swann won the match after Swann hit I think it was Drew Gulak with a spinning kick or like a spinning heel kick or something, and then rolled them up for the pin. So at least they're trying, but they're not. But they got and they're trying to make it different. They changed the mat a little bit. The ring ropes, whenever the cruiserweights are wrestling, is not red; it's purple. So it's good. Cesaro and Sheamus beat a set of jobbers. Of course, the entire point of this match was for Cesaro and Sheamus to argue, so there was that. We had TJ Perkins and Brian Kendrick backstage. They argued. Kendrick claimed that the Cruiserweight title belongs to him and demands a shot. And later in the night, we find out that Perkins next week is going to face Brian Kendrick is going to be defending his Cruiserweight Championship. Hopefully they have a better match than they did at Clash of Champions. Speaking of title matches, that next week, that leads me to Charlotte and Dana Brooke. Dana Brooke came out for a segment where Charlotte did most of the talking. For once, she actually made a promo that was a lot like Ric Flair. Ric Flair always had a certain style of promo. He would never bash. He's not like Triple H, where he would never bash his opponent. He would give his opponents props. He would say, yeah, they're good. They're pretty damn good. The only problem is, I'm better than them. Okay, you see? That's what Ric Flair was all about. Whenever The Rock One of the Rock cut a promo with somebody. That was what the Rock was all about. Rock and Ric Flair, they knew how to put their opponents over on the mic. Rock did it with CM Punk. He did it with John Cena. He did it with other guys, unless he was a heel, of course. Like he did, but he would always make himself like greater. Like in a suit with Goldberg in 03, when he said that Goldberg was a big fish in a small pond in WCW, but even though it's good, The Rock, he's a whale and a teardrop. Okay, you see, that's how you put somebody over on the mic. Even though it's not that great as a heel, it's still good. And that was during Hollywood Rock. That was awesome. I miss Hollywood Rock. Too bad they can't do that anymore. But anyways, Rock and Ric Flair have that kind of promo. Charlotte just cut the same kind of promo. She said, look, Sasha Banks and Bayley, they're really good. They're great. They're probably the best. Or the best of the best. The problem is, I'm better than they are. And that's why I'm the champion. Sasha came out, demanded a title shot. And long story short, it was a great segment. Charlotte gave her the title shot for next week, despite the fact he's like, yeah, I keep humiliating you, but I give you credit. You keep popping back up and wanting more. So, again, complimenting her opponent. Which is what you're supposed to do on the mic. Triple H, and this is what I hate about Triple H whenever he cuts a heel promo on somebody. He always runs them down and mocks them and just does everything just to fuck shit up. He does everything to make his opponent look bad. You're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to make your opponent look bad. You're supposed to make them look good. So that way you look even better at the show when you beat them. That is the entire point. And when you do make them look bad and you lose, when you make an opponent look bad on the mic and you win, it just makes them look like a jobber. If you make an opponent look bad on the mic and you lose to them, that makes you even much worse than they are. So if you are right. I just hate that kind of promo. Thankfully, they avoided that here. Charlotte slapped Sasha. Not Charlotte. Sasha slapped Charlotte in the face so hard that their makeup just came off. She got Dana Brooke in the bank statement. She fought both of them off and dumped them both out of the ring. Next week, we're getting Sasha Banks and Charlotte for the Women's Championship. So, which match? I think, if given time, Perkins and Kendrick are going to have the better match. Problem is, we don't know how much time is given. For all we know, the match could be given 10 minutes like it was at the pay-per-view. We briefly had Seth Rollins and Mick Foley backstage. Mick Foley got yet again verbally bashed, this time by Seth Rollins, saying that the words that come out of Mick Foley's mouth, all he hears is Stephanie McMahon. He doesn't hear Mick Foley, he hears Stephanie. Because Mick Foley is basically Stephanie's lapdog, for lack of a better term. Rollins and Foley says Rollins is not gonna ruin the highlight reel that Jericho had planned with Kevin Owens because of his hurt ribs. Rollins came out, and during the highlight reel, Rollins came out to interrupt anyway. So, and Mick Foley had security, sent him back, So there's that issue that hasn't been resolved yet. Speaking of, before that, TJ Perkins beat Tony Nese in a nice 8-minute match. A very good 8-minute match, I must say. It was a nice, solid match. This is the best match of the night, despite a commercial break and being 8 minutes. That's how good these guys are. They're really good. Don't fuck up with these guys. You better not. By the way, Tony Nese and Drew Gulak are not signed to WWE contracts like Dorado and the other cruiserweights are. So I was actually surprised that WWE did that. Hang on a second. There's something I forgot about Raw. Something after this, but right before the highlight reel. Just pulling up the results. Come on. Oh, yeah, I remember. Okay, so this week is Hispanic Heritage Month. We get Pedro Morales. Last week we got Eddie Guerrero. This week we got Pedro Morales, who is the one of the first ever WWE champions. It was Buddy Rogers, then some guy, I forget his name, then Bruno Sammartino in that 8-year-long reign, then Ivan Koloff, and after that, Pedro Morales. He was also the first ever Triple Crown winner, 2-time Intercontinental Champion, former WWE Tag Team Champion, former WWF Champion, or E Champion. So, and he's still alive, so it's still good. And he looks like a good wrestler from the package promo they gave him. Next, we have the highlight reel segment. Chris Jericho basically talking up Kevin Owens because they're best friends, you know. Again, I already brought up Rollins trying to interrupt. Soon after that, and Chris Jericho is still doing his list of Jericho. This was a fun segment, believe it or not. Endzone Cass came out. They made a Santa joke where Chris Jericho accidentally said he would sit on Big Cass's lap, which made a couple people laugh. Weird looks from everyone, including Kevin Owens. This led to a tag team main event. Owens and Jericho beat Endzone Cass. You can't have your Universal Champion lose to Endzone Cass. Not after he lost his match to Roman Reigns last week, albeit he didn't get pinned, but he still lost. Overall, this show had a good ending. Ugh. This show had a decent final hour, but the first 2 hours were just, oh man, they were not so good. Show was a bomb. The show sucked more than it was good. Until next time, guys, I'll see you later with my SmackDown review. I will get my TNA review up. I will get my WCW review up. I just finished watching TNA. And I will continue on the greatest video game series of all time list. I just need to find time to do it, okay? I'll see you later, guys. Have a good day. Peace.